Hi there, Becky. Good afternoon, and thank you so much for your time. So how much further does this take us in piecing together the story of humankind?
I have to be honest with you, it kind of throws us back about 2 decades in terms of our understanding. It's not a very good study. And it's not in line with our sort of much broader understanding of the origins of people, which is much more complex than this study has portrayed. So it's a bit unfortunate. I'm not sure how it got past peer review. So.
I want to talk about those flaws that you just highlighted. You say it takes us back a few decades. It's also not perhaps in line with what is already existing. Explain those flaws for those of us who aren't in the space.
Yeah, so our current understanding of human evolution is that it's Pan-African, and especially the origins of our species. So we have fossils that are hundreds of thousands of years old from North Africa, from East Africa, from South Africa, and people mixed and intermingled in quite sophisticated ways. And we also know that when people were leaving Africa, they were also mixing and intermingling with people outside of it. So our history is quite deep and quite complex. And what this has done is it's taken a certain kind of method and applied it to just the genetics of modern people and made lots of inferences about our past, including where these people came from, that just can't be supported by the evidence that they have. Yeah.
Just on the DNA point, I mean, this study looked at the maternal DNA passed on directly from mother to child. Would paternal DNA, I'm wondering here, have changed the picture at all?
Yeah, well, see, this is part of the thing. We've known for many, many years now that if you look at just maternal DNA, you get one picture. If you look at paternal, you get another. And in fact, the paternal lineage, so the Y chromosome, tells us that origins are in West Africa. And so what these are doing, and if you look at the other parts of the genome, they'll tell you a different story about interbreeding and admixture. And so every piece of our genome gives us other little bits of evidence about a very complex picture of evolution. But we should never look at just this small piece to try to make these, again, very sweeping conclusions, because that's just not the way that genes work. We're tracing gene complexity, not the bigger picture of human evolution when you're looking at something so little. Yeah.
But Becky, some will say to you that no study in science, no research is ever 100% accurate, and that there's always a flaw, always a critique. So surely there should be space for this in the broader conversation about the history of humanity.
Right, but if you're saying that you have people that are coming from one region without having any basis in the archaeology of that region, because this was simply a genetic story, and that those people were the first humans at 200,000 years ago based on genetics, when in fact we have fossils that are 300,000 years ago from North Africa, the inconsistencies are really much too great.
Lessons then for the future, especially for some people working in your field who may want to explore this angle further.
Sorry, I couldn't quite hear that.
My question was about any possible lessons that we could glean from the study, especially for other scientists who may want to look further into the subject matter.
Yeah, I mean, there are some really interesting insights coming out of things like ancient DNA, which is at the forefront of our understanding of the past. So if you're a geneticist and you're interested in these questions, going that direction, looking into ancient proteomics, which are giving us a lot of insight into the complexities of human evolution, the archaeology. So again, I think it's when you have multiple lines of evidence to try to, piece this together, there's lots to do, but trying to reduce it to a very, very simple study of one single small tiny part of the modern human genome is just it's too simple, and it's only one way that we can get information about the past.
All right, archaeologist Becky Ackerman, thank you so much for your time this afternoon.